Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Please like, subscribe, and share my videos.
She's just a girl. That's what they said at first. Just a girl from some forgotten village. Mother gone, no one left, no voice to defend her. So bringing her here felt like mercy, or at least it's what they told themselves, because here she would eat, she would sleep, she would survive. But survive at what cost? She looked too young, far too fragile for a place like this, a house where kindness sounded like orders and safety came with conditions. Yet the decision was made anyway. She would work, quietly, obediently, unseen, doing only small things that somehow never stayed small. From the moment she stepped inside, the rules wrapped around her like chains. Don't wander, don't touch, don't forget this is not your home. You are here because you were allowed. And she nodded, because what else could she do? The children barely noticed her, except when they needed something, and even then it was never a request. Always a command. Water, shoes, hurry up. While every mistake, no matter how small, came with a warning heavy enough to crush her spirit. Still, she whispered thank you. Still she tried, even as the loneliness crept in, turning her invisible, turning her into nothing more than moving hands. A quiet presence that worked and worked but was never truly seen. And at night, when silence finally came, her heart spoke the truth no one wanted to hear. Something wasn't right. Something was deeply, painfully wrong, because kindness should not feel like this, should not suffocate like this. Yet morning always returned with the same sharp voices, the same complaints, the same impossible expectations, and she apologized again and again, shrinking herself to fit a space that was never meant for her. Years passed like this, unnoticed by most, but not by everyone, because someone had been watching, quietly questioning, wondering how a child could grow into responsibility without ever being allowed to grow at all. And that question refused to stay buried any longer, clashing against excuses, against justifications, against the lie that timing would fix everything. Because 5 years is not timing, it is transformation, it is a life being decided in silence. And yet outside those walls, the world moved on, markets buzzed, voices called, people lived freely. And for a brief moment, she was part of it, thinking, remembering, hoping her grandmother would somehow see her now, see how hard she tried, how she kept going even when her body ached and her heart felt unbearably heavy. And then something strange happened, something unexpected, a whisper, a thought, a possibility so shocking it almost felt unreal. What if the truth she had been searching for was closer than she ever imagined? What if everything she believed about her life was incomplete or even a lie? But doubt quickly followed because hope had never been safe for her until the day someone finally asked her a question no one had ever asked before. What do you want? And just like that, everything shifted, even if only slightly, because for the first time, her voice existed, trembling but real, choosing something for herself. Makeup, something simple, something beautiful, something that could make others feel seen the way she never was. And though the permission came with conditions, with warnings not to forget her place, it didn't matter, because a door had opened, just a little, but enough to let light in. Still, even that hope was threatened, dismissed as nothing special, nothing life-changing. But she held on to it anyway, tightly, desperately, because even the smallest chance felt like everything. And so, with fear and determination tangled inside her, she stepped forward into a new space, asking, learning, daring to believe she could become something more. Yet beneath it all, one unsettling question lingered, quiet but powerful. If this is only the beginning, then what truth is still waiting to be uncovered? She explained it plainly. If Soya wanted to learn everything, real skills like makeup, hairstyling, gelly tying, bridal transformations, even henna artistry, then it would cost more, require proper tools, real commitment. But almost immediately, the idea was pushed aside as unnecessary, too expensive, too much for a girl like her, as if her dreams needed to be reduced before they even had a chance to breathe. Yet this time, something shifted. No hesitation, no compromise, because for once someone refused to let her future be half-built, insisting that if she was going to be given a chance, it had to be complete, not a watered-down version designed to keep her small, and though the agreement came with a tone that still measured her worth and usefulness, it was decided, and just like that, a door she never thought would open finally did. To Soya, it didn't just feel like an opportunity, it felt dangerous. Like hope was something fragile she wasn't supposed to hold, yet she clung to it, promising silently to her grandmother that she would turn this into something real, something powerful enough to prove she was more than what they made her believe. But inside the house, something darker was beginning to stir, a quiet discomfort, a fear that couldn't be explained, as if her growth was not just progress, but a threat. Because suddenly, she was being noticed not just as a worker, but as a person, and that attention. It was changing everything. The mornings were still harsh, filled with complaints and pressure, but now they collided with something new. Purpose. Long, exhausting days followed by evenings where she learned to create beauty, to transform faces, to build confidence with her own hands, and slowly, incredibly, she began to understand that she wasn't just following orders anymore. She was becoming something. Yet not everyone could accept that change, especially not the one person who had the most to lose. Because every glance, every small act of kindness shown to Soya began to feel like a threat, like something was being taken, something slipping away. And the more it grew, the more impossible it became to ignore the question haunting the silence. Why does her presence feel like a shadow tied to the past? Why does it feel like a truth long buried is starting to rise again? And then, the moment came. Not gradual, not gentle, but explosive, tearing through years of silence in a single breath. Anger, accusation, and then the truth, raw and undeniable. She was never just a girl brought in. She was her daughter, hidden in plain sight, forced to live as less than human under the same roof as the one person who should have loved her the most. The shock shattered everything, exposing not just a lie, but years of cruelty carefully disguised as survival. And in that instant, Soya's entire world twisted into something unbearable. Because it wasn't strangers who rejected her. It was her own mother, watching her suffer, calling her nothing while knowing exactly who she was. And as the truth burned through the house, it took everything with it: trust, marriage, identity. Because some betrayals don't crack things, they destroy them completely, leaving behind only one haunting realization. The girl who was treated like nothing had become everything, and the people who thought they controlled her story were never ready for the truth that would finally set her freed. It wasn't a mistake. It was years of silence, deliberate, calculated silence. Watching a child break piece by piece and choosing every single day to do nothing. And that is something I cannot forgive, not out of anger, but because the person standing in front of me is no longer the one I believed I built a life with. And I refuse, completely refuse, to raise my children in a home where truth this heavy can be buried so easily without consequence. And just like that, everything ends, not with noise, but with a quiet finality that echoes louder than any argument ever could, leaving behind a house that suddenly feels unfamiliar, unstable, as if the walls themselves are holding secrets they can no longer contain. Yet in the middle of that collapse, something unexpected begins to rise. Respect, long overdue, finally spoken out loud, forcing a shift that can no longer be ignored. Soya is no longer invisible, no longer just a girl, but someone who belongs, someone who deserves dignity. And for the first time, the world around her starts to reflect that truth. Outside, in a space built on creativity instead of control, she transforms not just faces but lives. Hands steady, heart focused, creating beauty that feels almost symbolic, as if every brushstroke is undoing years of pain. Every smile she brings out in others quietly healing something inside her too. And people begin to notice, not out of pity, but admiration, because what she carries is no longer just survival. It's talent, it's purpose, it's power. And then something even more unexpected happens. The same voices that once commanded her now seek her guidance, calling her sister with a sincerity that feels both strange and deeply meaningful. asking her to teach them, to share what she knows, unknowingly giving her something she was denied for so long. Recognition. Still, beneath the growth, beneath the beauty, there's a soft ache that never fully disappears, a quiet space where memories live, where she still longs for the one person who saw her before the world tried to erase. Her wishing just once that her grandmother could stand in the corner, watching, smiling, whispering that she did well. Because this isn't just a success story, it's something more complicated, more real. A girl who was almost lost, who almost believed she was nothing, now standing in her truth, creating light out of everything that once tried to keep her in the dark. And as she looks at what she's become, one question lingers gently, almost like a promise. What happens next when someone who was never meant to rise finally does?